Snark Squad. Babes, it's Saturday evening. And babes, the chaos. International, the vibes. Immaculate. And babes, we are here.
We are, unfortunately, very much here. And I am already exhausted just thinking about the absolute lack of logic we have to unpack tonight.
Babes, Splitsvilla continues to bring the chaos. Every single week. And honestly, we are living.
Barely surviving it, I'd say, but yes, technically living.
To our international snarkers, babes, welcome back. We see you, we love you, and to the new snarkers, babes, you found us, and your life just got messier.
Consider this your mandatory orientation into the snark side. By the end of this, your tolerance for basic human delusion will literally be zero.
Oh, completely zero. But, okay, before we even get into the psychological warfare of the villa, babes, we need to talk about what is on this table right now.
Let's do it, because I am meticulously analyzing this plate.
Because tradition has been upheld.
Yeah.
We have spicy chicken curry, garlic butter naan, and babes, we are driving.
The garlic to cilantro ratio on this naan is honestly an 8.5, but the curry heat, the heat is a solid 9.
It is borderline dangerous. If you could just smell the air in this room right now, you would understand true peace. The garlic butter is literally glistening under the ring light. I am obsessed.
It's aggressive heat.
Yeah.
It doesn't ask for permission. It just like attacks the palate.
Yeah.
Very much like a Splitsvilla elimination ceremony.
Exactly. We need the comfort food to balance out the extreme discomfort of watching these people ruin their lives on TV. But okay, important debate time. Babes, naan, rice, or both?
Well, obviously there's a strategy here, right? Because mixing them destroys the independent mechanisms of the carbohydrates.
No. It is always both. You take the naan, you lay it flat, and you just shove the rice in there.
It's a textural nightmare.
Right.
Rice requires a delicate sweeping approach to fully appreciate the sauce absorption, whereas naan is a scooping mechanism.
You are taking the joy out of carbs. It's an explosion of flavor. Why separate them?
Because when you combine them, you are disrespecting the culinary architecture. What you are doing is like the dietary equivalent of a toxic situationship.
Oh my God, stop.
I mean it. Just throwing two totally different elements together in a high-stress environment and hoping they miraculously work out. It's chaotic.
I am living for the chaos. I will be over here, you know, living my best, most flavorful life, and you can sit there with your strictly organized little portions.
I will gladly eat with dignity. Speaking of a total lack of dignity, though, we have an inbox to clear out.
We absolutely do. Babes, our DMs, out of control. We have been getting so many shady, snarky, or stupid submissions.
The sheer volume of poor life choices in our inbox is, frankly, astounding.
And babes, we had to pick a few. If you are a new listener, this is where you submit your messy life choices anonymously, and we rate your behavior.
We rate the operational execution and moral flexibility of your decisions on our highly scientific scale of shady, snarky, or stupid. Give me the first one.
Okay, submission 1. Listen to this. Our listener writes, I secretly went on a date with my best friend's ex-boyfriend.
Starting strong with a major social violation.
Right. She says, we thought we were being incredibly stealthy. We drove to a restaurant 2 towns over to avoid running into anyone.
Amateur hour geography. 2 towns over is nothing.
But wait, it gets worse. She says, we ended up at a mutual family party the very next weekend, and we got caught literally hiding in the exact same guest bathroom together to avoid her walking past the hallway.
Let's break down the sheer tactical failure of this entire operation.
The panic I felt just reading this. Just picture sweating near a shower curtain, holding your breath while your best friend is like eating a deviled egg 20 feet away.
Your empathetic panic is valid, but look at the mechanics. A bathroom is a tactical choke point. It is a dead end with exactly one ingress and egress route.
You just cornered yourself.
Exactly. If you are executing a clandestine operation, you never ever corner yourself in a room with a single exit. The stealth strategy here is atrocious.
It really is. Plus, you don't date the ex. That's the golden rule. So what is our verdict here?
The verdict is shady, leaning heavily into stupid. You violated a core tenet of the social contract by dating the ex, so that's shady.
Yeah, completely shady.
But the execution of your cover-up was so embarrassingly flawed that it demands a stupid designation. I mean, if you are going to commit a social crime, at least plan a viable escape route.
Honestly, totally agree. Shady and stupid. Babes, do better.
Okay.
Submission 2. This one literally made me laugh out loud.
Others, I'm bracing myself.
The listener says, I faked having severe food poisoning to avoid going to my cousin's destination wedding because I just couldn't afford the flights.
A classic victimless excuse.
Yeah.
So far acceptable.
She says, I went out that exact same night in my hometown and accidentally got tagged in 4K high-definition club photos holding a massive sparkler bottle.
Ah.
And my aunt saw it on Instagram.
The digital footprint. The silent, unavoidable killer of the modern alibi.
It is legendary. Like, faking food poisoning is one thing, but getting caught in 4K resolution looking like you're headlining a festival in Ibiza while supposedly dying of salmonella?
The contrast is definitely cinematic, I'll give you that.
I have to respect the absolute commitment to the club. To me, this is iconic behavior. I'm calling it snarky.
I cannot, in good conscience, call this snarky. This is a colossal failure of operational security.
You just hate a good time. Let her live.
I hate sloppy execution. Look, if you are faking an illness severe enough to break a massive financial commitment like a destination wedding, you must initiate a total digital blackout.
I mean, you're not wrong, but...
You do not enter an establishment that specifically utilizes flash photography and social media promotion as its core business model. Calling this snarky rewards incompetence. It is objectively stupid.
I'm just picturing the aunt scrolling her feed at the wedding buffet, eating a piece of dried chicken, and suddenly her niece is just illuminated by a shower of sparks on the grid.
It is funny, but it's stupid.
We are splitting the vote on this one, but this last submission, you need to brace yourself.
I'm already bracing.
Submission 3. My situationship was completely ignoring my texts, so when he fell asleep on my couch, I unlocked his phone using his sleeping face.
Wait. I'm sorry, what?
I went into his messages, texted myself a beautifully written, emotionally mature closure paragraph, apologizing for his distant behavior, and then I deleted the evidence from his phone.
I'm going to need a full 60 seconds to process the absolute sociopathy of that action.
I was absolutely shocked. The legality of this, the toxicity.
It's biometric cybercrime.
Exactly. You forced a sleeping man's face to unlock a device just to draft your own fan fiction about your breakup. Who actually does this?
Okay, setting aside the blatant violation of privacy and the, very real legal implications.
Which we definitely should not set aside.
Just from a purely psychological, transactional standpoint, I am low-key impressed by the proactive emotional management.
You cannot be serious right now.
Think about the mechanism of closure. We sit around for months, sometimes years, waiting for emotional resolution from people who lack the vocabulary for it.
Yeah, because they're toxic.
Exactly. So this listener identified the deficit, bypassed the agonizing waiting period, and manufactured the exact psychological resolution they required to move forward.
By hacking his phone.
They effectively outsourced their own closure. It's highly concerning for their overall sanity, but the efficiency, it's a very dark kind of genius.
It is unhinged. You cannot write a monologue from a toxic man's perspective and send it to yourself. What if he checks his carrier statement?
That would be a problem. But the verdict is a terrifying blend of snarky and shady.
You are actively encouraging cybercrimes, and I won't be a part of it. Keep those messy DMs coming, babes, but please try to stay out of jail.
We appreciate the mess, regardless of the legality.
Thank you. Now, speaking of unhinged behavior and attempting to better ourselves, we need to discuss a major life update. Babes, we made it to Pilates. Again.
I'm still recovering.
Like, who are we? This is now consistent behavior. We have gone 3 times in a row.
I am highly, highly suspicious of this sudden lifestyle pivot.
I am literally transforming. I feel like a supreme fitness queen. I sneezed yesterday, and I swear I felt an abdominal muscle activate that I didn't even know existed.
My core currently feels like it has been tenderized by a meat mallet.
I'm browsing grip socks online. I am hydrating intentionally.
The contraptions they make you utilize on that reformer machine defy the basic laws of human anatomy.
Amazing, though.
You are strapping your feet into suspension ropes, hovering in midair, while an overly enthusiastic instructor tells you to breathe into your back ribs. It feels like a pastel-colored cult initiation.
It is a cult, and I am happily drinking the alkaline water. I am sitting here eating heavy garlic naan, but in my mind, my posture is impeccable. I'm engaging my pelvic floor right now.
The juxtaposition of you praising your pelvic floor engagement while literally wiping spicy chicken curry off your chin perfectly encapsulates why I question this entire endeavor.
We are athletes now. Babes, are we? Pilates people now.
We have attended exactly 3 50-minute sessions. Let's not rewrite our entire cellular identity just yet. We are simply people who overpay to be stretched on a padded table.
You are just projecting because your obliques are sore. But let's take this concept of delusion, the stories we tell ourselves, and apply it to people who have absolutely zero self-awareness.
Finally, a smooth transition. Let's talk about the cast of MTV's Splitsvilla.
Yes. Babes, we have to start with the economy of the villa because the entire foundation of the show has shifted. The split coin race is over, and the Paisa power dynamic is unrecognizable.
It's fascinating because the producers essentially created a microcosm of late-stage capitalism and dropped it into the middle of a dating competition.
The wealth gap is shocking. Let me break down the stats for the listeners because you need to understand how steep this pyramid is.
Please, outline the class divide.
At the absolute top, the 1%, sitting at a massive 25,000 split coins each. We have Deeptanshu and Soundharya, Gulu and Kaira, and Vishu and Suzanne. 25,000.
Which is an astronomical amount of leverage in this specific ecosystem. It buys immunity, political influence, and basically the ability to dictate the narrative.
Then we drop down to the mid-tier. Garesh and Akanksha with 18,000, Tain and Sahaf with 15, Ron and Asmita and Yogesh and Ruru at 12,000.
The middle class of reality television, living in constant low-level anxiety about slipping down the ladder.
Exactly, because then we hit the bottom tier. Saurabh and Niharika at 7,000, Mohit and Anushka with 3,000, Diksha and Himanshu surviving on literal fumes with 2,000.
And then we reach the absolute abyss, the structural collapse.
The destitute. Preet and Zalak, 0 coins. Not a single coin to their name. Babes, they were forced to literally walk around the villa and beg the top tier for scraps.
The psychological impact of that cannot be overstated.
The humiliation of having to walk up to Gulu and practically ask for a 3,000 coin allowance. Imagine performing on national TV and having a bank account of 0.
Let's pull the emotion out of it for a second and look at the underlying strategy, because this is where the socio-dynamics get truly incredible.
Okay, hit me.
You have Preet and Zalak at 0, actively begging, but then look back at the apex of the chart. Let's analyze the Suzanne strategy.
Oh my god, the invisible queen.
Precisely. Suzanne and Vishu have 25,000 coins. And I need you to ask yourself, what specifically has Suzanne done to earn this unassailable position?
Absolutely nothing, not one thing. She breathes, she blinks. That is it.
It is the most brilliant, frictionless grift I have ever witnessed. She is the living embodiment of doing the absolute bare minimum and reaping maximum reward.
It is exactly like that one girl in a high school group project who brings the poster board, does 0 research, and gets an A+ from the teacher. That is Suzanne.
If you can navigate your way to the throne and become practically invincible without engaging in a single meaningful conflict, that is top-tier Machiavellian strategy.
I mean, I respect the weaponized incompetence, I really do. But you know who is not floating quietly? Who is crashing and burning? We have to talk about the skit drama.
This specific incident was a masterclass in how not to handle accountability.
I had to pause the television and physically walk around my living room. So the producers set up an entertainment skit. Lighthearted comedy, right?
Supposedly.
But Gulu makes a conscious decision to mock Ruru's highly sensitive personal trauma. Her actual clinical panic attacks and severe abandonment issues, he turns it into a cheap punchline.
Which is a massive, unforgivable violation of interpersonal trust.
So Ruru, being an absolute queen, confronts him, and she's so polite about it, she just asks him to acknowledge that crossing that line was wrong.
A textbook request for basic validation. And how does Gulu respond?
He deploys the oldest, most cowardly weapon. He and his friends just laugh in her face. They claim it was a defense mechanism and say it was just an entertainment task.
Gaslighting 101. Invalidate the victim's emotional response to absolve yourself of the responsibility to apologize.
If a man ever tells you it was just a joke after hurting your feelings, run. But the part that made my blood pressure skyrocket was the Yogesh factor.
Ah, yes. The hypocrisy reaches its absolute zenith with Yogesh.
Yogesh has the audacity to actively defend the skit. He tells Ruru to take a joke and to, quote, hide her sadness and just smile. Are we in the 1950s?
It's staggering.
Hide your sadness and smile. Who are you to tell a woman processing trauma to swallow her pain? I completely lost it.
Please preserve the non. Do not throw anything. But your outrage is justified, especially when we look at Yogesh's historical behavior.
Shred him. Break it down.
What has been Yogesh's defining character arc? His obsessive dream of being cast on roadies? And what happened when Akanksha made a minor joke about his failure to get on that show?
He threw a massive, earth-shattering temper tantrum. He literally cried.
So let's look at the emotional mathematics. Mocking a man's failure to get cast on MTV is an unpardonable sin that inflicts sacred psychological damage. However, mocking a woman's actual clinical panic attacks is simply comedy that she needs to gracefully smile through. The math isn't mathing.
It is completely broken. The audacity. He demands absolute empathy for his TV dreams, but offers zero baseline empathy for her mental health. Disgusting.
It's a crystalline example of patriarchal narcissism.
And Ruru took it with so much class she just walked away. But the emotional trauma wasn't enough for the producers because we immediately pivot to physical trauma with the wobbly pool task.
Ah, Baby Coquer Passand High, a fascinating study in chaos physics and aggressive corporate product placement.
The girls have to cross this wobbly, floating bridge in a pool to fetch campering spa items for the boys because the boys have been working so hard sitting on the beach all week.
The visual metaphor of women performing an excruciating aquatic gauntlet to deliver spa treatments to lounging men writes itself.
The stages were ridiculous, fetching a Philips body groomer, a spa mask, a literal head massage, and chocolates. But they also had people stationed in the water to stop them.
Yes, the individuals that the show insistently referred to as the sabotagers.
Oh my god, the vocabulary on this show makes my teeth hurt.
Reddit caught this immediately, babes. Tane, the hosts, the cast, confidently yelling sabotagers instead of saboteurs. We love a confidently incorrect English moment.
It sounds like a brand of spicy chips. But anyway, Preet, Zalak, Ruru, and Anushka are placed in the pool to literally pull and drown the girls crossing the bridge.
Let's evaluate the actual athletic performances, starting with Niharika and Sadaf.
Niharika killed it. She is an absolute queen.
Her roadie's background paid off.
Ah.
She recognized Sadaf was terrified and instantly stepped into the role of an authoritative leader.
She was literally coaching her across, saying, baby steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at my eyes. It completely worked.
Because Niharika successfully neutralized the psychological variable. If you panic, your core stabilizers fail. She anchored Sadaf's visual focus, a masterclass in crisis management.
Loved seeing that emotional support. But then we have the epic fails, the absolute clowns, Kaira and Akanksha.
An epic, catastrophic failure of kinetic balance and basic human decency.
They fall in the water instantly. And before the splash is even settled, Kaira immediately starts screaming at Akanksha, blaming her for shifting her weight.
This is why we rely on instant replay. Because the live narrative Kaira was spinning was entirely fraudulent.
I rewound it 3 times.
Yeah, and what does the tape show? It shows Kaira losing her own center of gravity first. In a moment of panic, she actively pushes Akanksha, using her as a physical buffer, and then screams at her.
A masterclass in Darvo. And then Kaira actively, intentionally shook the bridge to make Niharika and Sadaf fall.
Malicious gameplay. If you lack the physical skill, you reassess. You don't violently sabotage your teammate and try to destroy the environment for everyone else out of sheer spite.
This is exactly why Reddit calls her Guluka Ulu. Gulu's fool. She has pure negativity, babes. But as messy as Kaira was, the environment down in the water was so much worse. The bullying of Anushka.
It crossed the line from a competitive challenge into something structurally dangerous to watch.
When Anushka enters the water, it turns into a 6-on-1 wrestling match. Preet, Zalak, they swarmed her like sharks, bending her arms backward, practically drowning her.
It was not strategy. It was a textbook manifestation of pure, unadulterated mob mentality.
My jaw was on the floor. They looked like they wanted to snap her ribs.
The villa's hatred for Anushka is so blinding, they willingly ruin their own task times just for the vindictive gratification of torturing her. Even Akanksha just stood there watching because she knew it went too far.
It was horrified. And the fact that the hosts didn't blow a whistle to stop it, disgusting. But all that physical brutality led to the climax. The 25,000 coin standoff.
A classic prisoner's dilemma engineered for maximum conflict.
The winning pairs, Himanshu and Deeksha and Deeptanshu and Sandy, get a secret envelope with 25,000 coins. But only one pair can take it. If they don't decide, nobody gets it.
And standoff begins.
Himanshu has 2,000 coins. Deeptanshu has 25,000. And Himanshu stubbornly refuses to yield. He says he won't sacrifice himself for anyone outside his alliance.
And this is where our opinions sharply diverge.
Himanshu is insufferable. He complains nonstop. He should have been grateful Sandy and Deeptanshu carried the physical weight of that task. He should have just handed over the money.
Okay, wait, hold on. Put your emotions away for a second.
I am passionate about justice.
Be passionate, but be logical. Deeptanshu is at the top of the power chart. Himanshu is broke. Why would Himanshu hand his powerful rival another 25,000 coins?
Because they did the physical work.
It's a game of survival. Himanshu played his only card, which was Absolute irrational stubbornness. He gaslit Deeptanshu into submission, and it worked.
But Deeptanshu gave in. He lost 25K. Is that really a good strategy for Deeptanshu to just roll over?
Yes, because Deeptanshu already has immunity and coins. What's the one thing you don't want when you're at the top? A larger target on your back.
Ooh. Wait.
By letting the broke guy have the money, Deeptanshu looks like the bigger person. He avoids being the greedy king, buys social goodwill, and keeps his hands clean. It's PR, babes.
Okay, I hate that you're right. Deeptanshu is playing chess while Himanshu is throwing checkers. But what about the host bias? Sunny and Curran clearly favor Gulu's alliance.
The moderatorial bias is palpable.
It makes it impossible for anyone else to play strategically without getting yelled at by the hosts.
The producers have a predetermined narrative. Deeptanshu is playing the best game within the rules, but Gulu is playing the metagame with the producers.
It's exhausting. Okay, we have to move into our official segments. Segment 1, the Hottest Mess Award.
Focus. Who brought the absolute most chaos this episode?
I am nominating the girls in the pool, Preet and Zelak. Treating a water challenge like a WWE deathmatch against Anushka was unhinged. You have 0 coins, no connection, and you're just professional pool saboteurs now.
I acknowledge the physical chaos, but true messiness is psychological. My nomination goes to Kaira.
Oh God, Kaira.
She loses balance, gaslights Akanksha, pushes her into the water, violently shakes the platform, and refuses to take a single ounce of accountability. The lack of self-awareness takes the crown.
You know what? You're right. Kaira poisoned the air in the villa. She wins Hottest Mess. Segment 2, the Couple Delusion Index.
Which couple is the most out of touch with reality? Rank 3 goes to Tane and Sadhoff.
Yes, it hurts to watch.
Reddit is disgusted that Sadhoff stays with Tane despite his constant disrespect. She is shamefully with him, Biggs.
She is shrinking herself for him. Rank 2 goes to Suzanne and Vishu, the delusion of grandeur. Sitting on the throne, doing nothing but acting like they run the villa.
They bought into their own unearned hype. Which brings us to rank 1.
Yukesh. His delusion that his roadie's dream is sacred trauma, but Ruru's actual mental health is a punchline. The absolute audacity. He is number 1.
Flawless analysis. Segment 3, main character or background extra. Who is carrying the show?
Main characters are definitely Niharika and Sandy.
Undeniably. They are the athletic and strategic backbone.
Yeah.
They physically carry the tasks. They don't complain. They just win.
Exactly. And the background extras?
Suzanne. She's basically high-end furniture at this point. You could replace her with a lamp.
A lamp. I'm crying. And I nominate Preet and Zelak as extras. 0 coins, no connection. You are just nameless henchmen now. Pack your bags.
Segment 4. Who's playing the game best? Strategy versus emotion.
We talked about this. It has to be Deeptanshu.
He plays pure strategy. He made alliances in the pool so nobody touched Sandy. He divided his coins. He used the 25K envelope as a PR move.
Even with the host bias against him, he is the absolute mastermind. Babes, what an episode. Let's wrap this up.
And we covered a lot of ground today.
International chaos, curry happiness, Pilates confusion.
A very accurate summary.
Babes, we have to know, naan or rice? Where do you stand? And are we actually becoming fitness people? Please say no.
I refuse to accept the fitness label until I've been at least 10 times.
And babes, what would you do in Splitsvilla? Would you be the mastermind like Deeptanshu, or would you be drowning people in the pool? Tell us.
Rate, review, subscribe.
Send submissions. Keep those DMs messy. Send this to your most chaotic friend. Thank the Snark Squad.
It's been a journey.
Stay seasoned. Stay savage. And we'll see you on the Snark side.